A ladder of hearts to ascend the brightest heaven of invention, where no man has gone, the moon, through fluorescent smog, the Hollywood sign, obscure as the San Gabriel's, snow-capped, like the Italian Alps, or Mount Etna, when it's not blazing. Vesuvius ever looming its judgment, ruthless and exacting. The Pacific, violent. Its waves crash and carve their way into this desert. The stars, visible now. Operatic illumination. Tribal bonfires in Elysian Park. Frogtown, the river swollen beyond its concrete girdle, the red car, up Echo Park Avenue to Red Hill, anarchy in La USA.
Hey, this is Blaze, and I'm here with Roger how do I say your middle name?
Smith.
tell me.
It's Roger Guenveur Smith.
Guenveur,
yeah.
Roger Guenveur Smith.
Thanks for having me, yeah.
You know, we just saw an excerpt from his new piece. Tell us a little bit about it.
This is a piece called the Watchtowers Project, and I've been working on it for a while, trying to pull it together. It's all about Rodia's 33-year masterpiece, solo performance, the Watchtowers. It's a beautiful piece of work. I'm focusing on Rodia's work, and I'm also focusing on the history of me and my family here in LA. This is where I grew up.
See now, I had a chance to interview this gentleman the other week, and I didn't have any information. So just now, when you dropped that 7/27, I happen to know that's your birthday.
That's
so
right.
That was really your story you were telling.
Absolutely.
Oh, how beautiful. I said, when I heard it, I said, hey, I thought it was just an act, so that was really great. You know, I did a lot of studying on you, and I noticed you went to Yale.
That's right.
And so when you were at Yale, you were going to be a historian or what?
That's right. I started studying history there. I thought I was going to do a Ph.D. in history, but I wound up auditioning for the drama school, and I was accepted, and it was a great class that included Angela Bassett, John Turturro, Charles Dutton, and I've been combining my interests in history and performance ever since.
So now that's what I noticed. With the piece you just did, which we will be showing on the show, it was historical. I was like, when you were doing that with the Crenshaw and the different stops and all that, I really, really, really loved that.
Thank you.
You know, and I went through, I don't know, I know this is just a short amount of time, but I just want to, you know, bring some of our people up, because I know you have people who are young who are fans of yours now also, at least from the Benjamins. I think everyone's seen the Benjamins.
All about the Benjamins, yeah, Final Destination. Those are popular with younger audiences.
Right, so we want to touch upon some of the other folks and let them know that you also were in School Dash. You have a fantastic relationship with Spike Lee. I understand one of the movies he had, he just asked you, make your own role. Tell us a little bit about that.
Do the Right Thing, which was a fantastic film. I think it has really proved the test of time. It's still a classic American film. We filmed it in the summer of 1988, and it came out in '89. And I play the character of Smiley. It's a character that I created, a man who walks the streets of Brooklyn selling a personally colorized portrait of Malcolm X shaking hands with Martin Luther King Jr. And I had always seen that picture and been startled by it because of the popular propaganda about these men who were allegedly mortal enemies, and you can see in the flash of that bulb that they had genuine admiration and love for each other. And Spike said, yeah, I think that will work. And we continued to work with that, improvising all the way through to the very end, where Smiley burns down the pizza parlor and puts the picture of Malcolm and Martin up on the ruins of the pizza parlor.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
See, now I'm a Brooklynite, so there really are people that walk around and seem out of it. When you listen to them, they really enlighten you. It's so amazing. There's so many people like that.
And when people started asking me, how'd you come up with that character, I thought about this man that I was talking about in the piece that I did today, who was selling the LA Sentinel on the corner of Western and what we used to call Santa Barbara Avenue.
Yeah.
And every Thursday my father would go and get the paper from him, and he would say, thank you very much. And, you know, it obviously made a very big impression on me as a child, and I regurgitated it some years later as a character.
Now, you've had some outstanding roles in many shows, and I'm going to make this interview short, but there's so much on you here that I was fascinated by, like King of New York.
King of New York, a cult classic with...
Was that a turning point in your career, or what? Because there's so many dynamic individuals.
It was an interesting exercise with Mr. Christopher Walken. I had just done a play, a Shakespeare actually, Coriolanus, in New York, where I killed Chris 78 times on stage, and then we stepped right into King of New York, a contemporary Shakespeare murder drama, you know. So it was a lot of fun, and Chris is obviously a tremendously talented individual, and I was really happy to work on that with him and create something of, you know, lasting, I think, cult status.
And in the 90s, you went in and you did a lot of sitcoms and television. What was that experience like for you?
Well, that was interesting. I had a role, ironically enough, as a history professor on A Different World. I played a mysterious guy named Miles Christopher.
Wait, were those women really that beautiful?
Absolutely, and they still are.
You played who now?
I played a mysterious character named Miles Christopher on All My Children for the soap people in the house. I did a series for HBO called Oz, and most recently I did a series with HBO called K Street, which was completely improvised and directed by Steven Soderbergh, produced by Mr. George Clooney, and it was a fantastic experience working in Washington, D.C. and improvising this basically a 5-hour film that we did in 10 weeks.
Now, no, okay,
right.
So when Teresa, she was like the good person, and she's really trying real hard to do the right thing, and then you were the bad guy. Tell us a little bit about that. What happened to her and how...
Well, it's about a brother and sister, and they get into a car accident, and the brother is really responsible for the accident, and he has to step up and own up to his responsibility, and at the same way he has some very serious issues. Very serious issues. It's a very interesting film about family and spirituality, and I think it was executed quite well on a very small budget right here in LA.
Okay, well, you know, what else I want to talk? I want to talk about a lot. You went somewhere, I think in Washington, you did a show.
I've done, yes, I did a Huey P. Newton story in Washington, D.C., but of course we filmed the climax of Get on the Bus in Washington, D.C., which was about the Million Man March. I played one of the gentlemen who went from Los Angeles on a bus across country to the march. Tried to get to the march, but didn't quite make it.
It says here, the note I had here says he was stellar and get on the bus.
Well, somebody said
stellar.
Somebody
get on the bus. You know, Spike Lee also assisted you with taking that play that you wrote with Huey P. Newton, and I want to say when I saw it, and when I saw it, I didn't really know Huey P. Newton, but when I saw it, I felt like I knew him perfectly well.
Well, good.
How interesting.
I hope to play, you know, every character with, you know, as a real person. Hopefully you can look at that person and say, I know that person, I know someone like that person. Some people have said that, you know, they see themselves sometimes reflected on stage with what I do on the screen.
Okay, and the final thing.
Yes.
Final.
Yes.
Really final.
Yes.
The name of the play that's closing tonight?
The play that's closing tonight is called Inside the Creole Mafia.
Now, when I first met you at the Department of Water and Power, the last day of February of Black History Month,
right.
You said funds were going to do something particular for Louisiana.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that and we'll close.
We've been doing fundraising since September for Katrina relief. We worked at St. Anselm's Church, we worked at Red Cat in the fall, and we've been in Evidence Room for the last 3 months with Inside the Creole Mafia, working on a special project with Habitat for Humanity. They are building a residential village and performance village for musicians in Louisiana. It's essential that we support the people who make the culture.
So many people want to help and support. What is a safe way you think that people can help?
Well, I think Habitat for Humanity is doing some good work there, and you know, if you want to contribute in that way, you can, but there are a million different ways of contributing. There are refugees from New Orleans all over this country, particularly here in Los Angeles, and I know that we have opened our hearts and our wallets and our homes in some respects to them. And I would certainly hope that we would continue in that tradition, because that's what we do. We help each other.
Thank you very much,
you,
Roger. This is Blaze Out at the California African American Museum on Target Sundays. The first Sunday of every month. Make it a point to be here. You'd be surprised at the people you might meet.
Impressions I knew.